And now, back to your regular scheduled programming. The Traxxas Lifted Bronco build, Part 2. How's it going, guys? Greg here with RC Driver. And yes, we are on to build number 2 with the Traxxas Bronco. And I got a lot of work to do today. I've got to assemble the chassis. I'm going to show you guys that going together. I'm going to install the servo mount from the lifted kit that I showed you in part 1 of this video series. And I'm going to show you guys the conversion kits, the wheelbase conversion kits, where you can go from long wheelbase to short wheelbase and vice versa, short wheelbase to long wheelbase, and when you would use that stuff. So why don't we jump right into it and head over to the workbench. It is time to get this chassis assembled, and I think I have everything laid out that I'm going to need here. Again, I'm starting off with a full build-up kit, and I've got some aftermarket components going in here, so I kind of had to go and map things out, get my game plan down, and I think I'm there. So I'm ready to start building. First up, I just wanted to show you guys these frame rails. I mean, just cool looking frame rails. Mentioned that in the unboxing portion of this video series. And now my first step is actually putting in the servo mount from the lifted kit. So that's a step 1 in the instruction manual, and so I'm going to go put that in. Here is the stock servo mount that comes with it. So I'm already going to set that aside. I'm already putting option parts in. So this is going to go together. Some of the wheel wells are going to go on. Some of the floor pans are going to go on. So I'm going to jump ahead and do that. Get some of this stuff together. Just like the last video, I'll stop if I find a tip. And what I really want to do is get some of this together so I can start to show you those wheelbase conversion kits. Because this particular kit right here, this is a 312 wheelbase kit. I mentioned that before, so that's got to fit our Bronco body perfectly. However, if you're watching this video because you want to see how to convert your existing TRX-4 to the Bronco body, that's what I'm going to show you with these kits, or vice versa. If you want to switch to something else, we should be able to answer that in the video once we go over those conversions. All right, now let me get into this and we'll talk about that in just a second. Well, just like everything pretty much in part 1, this went together just as well. I mean, the parts just kind of fall into place and you just have to put the hardware in. Everything just builds really smoothly on this kit. So as I mentioned, I put that servo mount in from the lift kit and it actually bolts into the fender well here. So it's got these little tabs that come down. So there's a screw in that lift kit that helps you bolt that together. The other thing that I forgot to mention before is it now has these riser plates. So there's this little battery tray that Traxxas gives you for right up front here. And there's these little risers in that lift kit to help get it up and over the servo. And there are new screws for that as well. So like I said, everything else went together. I really don't have any tips for you guys other than when you go ahead and dump out the bag of hardware, go ahead and separate all the screws ahead of time so you're not mixing the 10 millimeter long screws with the 12 millimeter long screws and then wondering where you put what. That's really all I got for you. So now we're moving on to, oh no wait, we're not moving on just yet because I was going to put in the little caps right here on the fender wells for where the rock lights go, but I remembered I've got rock lights. So I'm going to go install these now. I'm going to show you how they look bolted up in the fender wells. So I've got my rock lights in here in the fender wells, and that just went in with the hardware that was included for the stock plastic caps. And those will really light up those wheel wells. I have them on my Defender. They are pretty bright. And I also went ahead and put the transmission in. It was only 3 screws. It was just sitting there, so I wanted to drop it in. But again, everything is going so well so far, and now we're going to move on to those conversion packages that I talked to you about. And they really kind of come later in the build setup here, but I wanted to go over them now because some of them have the fender wells, and that's really part of this area of the build. So let me get this set up, and we're going to go into why you would want to get these for your rig if you already have one, if you're switching bodies and stuff. All right, let me get this set up. Here they are, the 2 conversion kits laid out, and I just want to go over right now what comes with these kits. Now, as you can see here, it obviously comes with an instruction manual, and for the long to short, they give you the fender wells, and that's because the shocks are now mounted in the fender wells. You can see the towers right here, and they also include a front battery tray, and that spans between the 2 front fenders. The hardware to install that. This is a short rear drive shaft, the telescoping drive shaft, so you're going to have to pull that apart to swap that out. And then, of course, the proper links for the short wheelbase stance. All right, over here is the short to long, and in that kit, they give you new shock towers for front and rear. They give you the longer rear telescoping drive shaft, and of course the longer links. As you can see, there aren't any fender wells for the long wheelbase, and that's because with the tactical and the Defender body, you don't use the fenders mounted to the chassis. They are mounted to the body. All right, now I'm going to grab some trucks for reference. So here's my TRX-4 Defender, and this is a long wheelbase kit. So this is an example of why you would want to pick up the short wheelbase conversion here in order to mount the Bronco. If you're following this build series because you want to put a Bronco body on your Defender, this is what you're going to need here. So, just for reference, as you can see, the fender wells, they're inside the Defender body, and so that's why with this conversion kit, it swaps out the shock towers on the long wheelbase for these fender wells with the integrated shock tower in it. And then the rest is pretty simple. Installing the links in the rear is pretty simple. Installing the rear drive shaft is pretty simple. And it will take your Defender wheelbase and bring it down to the short wheelbase that you need for the Bronco. Now again, we're building up the Traxxas TRX-4 kit, which is a 312mm wheelbase, so it's actually perfect for our Bronco body. But just to cover everything here, in case you're watching to learn more about the TRX-4, this is the short to long wheelbase conversion here. So if you were taking a Bronco and you wanted to go and add a Defender body to it, this is what you would need here. So this is a pretty easy swap as well. What you do is you pull off the fenders and you replace it with the shock towers, and then for the rear end you would swap out the links, of course, and then the drive shaft, and then of course you have to go in and pick up a Defender body, and again, that's where your wheel wells are, so that's why you don't see them here in this conversion, because it comes with the body set, either the Defender or the tactical. But this is really all you need. The conversions are very simple, they're pretty easy to install, and again, it gives you the versatility to swap bodies out with just easy wheelbase changes. So I hope that little discussion on the two different wheelbase kits helped clear up any questions you may have had about adjusting your wheelbase to fit the different Traxxas bodies. All right, now we're going to move on to installing the motor here. I've got the Titan 550 that we're going to use. It comes with the TRX-4 kit. And I am going to go and put the 10-tooth pinion gear on that came with our lift kit. Now, the reason why I'm going to put this on is because I'm going to use the 2.2 tires, and this keeps the gear ratio where it needs to be for that tire change. All right, this should be pretty quick. The motor and pinion are in place, and that was pretty easy to install. You know what I really like is Traxxas goes and puts a little bit of thread locking compound on the set screw and on the motor screws to help secure them in place. I think that's pretty cool. All right, guys, I think that kind of wraps up this particular part of the build series. I think we've done enough here today. We got a lot of parts on this build, and everything looks awesome and has gone together awesome so far. All right, so in the next video, I want to go and talk to you guys about the steering servo options that you have. If you want to stick with the Traxxas brand, we have a couple here that I'm going to show you, and I even have the BEC to install that will give these servos the power that they need for maximum performance. All right, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the comments section below, and we'll see you back for the next part of the series.